Good to see you.
Good to see you.
So Democrats right now are at an all-time low in terms of approval rating. You're the chair of the House Democrats, 27% approval in the latest NBC poll. Why do you think that is?
We're frustrated too. We feel that it's the economic angst that people are feeling that comes through in that. People are losing trust in their institutions, including government, including political parties. What we need to do is focus on the issues that people care about, ensuring that people have good quality health care in our country, in our state of California, making sure that we're fighting for education dollars coming into the classroom, the assault that Donald Trump and House Republicans have on our health care, on the Department of Education. All of that is top of mind in the economic anxiety that people have.
Do you think, though, that Democrats feel like Democrats aren't fighting enough?
Well, I think that there's always room to push back. When you see the chaos and the dysfunction that the Trump administration is wielding right now, there's always room to push back more. There's a reason why House Democrats voted overwhelmingly to oppose the budget that Republicans offered last week, because it wasn't bipartisan and because it allowed the Trump administration maximum flexibility to cut dollars that come back to our communities.
And yet the Senate Minority Leader, Chuck Schumer, went ahead with it.
They supported the bill, and look, I mean, they made the calculation that a shutdown is terrible, which we agree with. But ultimately, we feel, House Democrats feel, that we could not support this budget that allowed Donald Trump maximum flexibility to work with unelected billionaires like Elon Musk, all to systematically dismantle the government. We have argued that there is already a government shutdown going on. It is at the hands of Elon Musk and Doge, and we don't want to support that.
Yeah, obviously the Republicans have a different view on that, but obviously you all want to fight back, want to stop a lot of that. What do you think is the most effective strategy at this point to actually push back?
The most effective strategy is to talk about the issue with people. That's why House Democrats led and had a day of action yesterday where over 150 members participated, where we called attention to Medicaid and the importance of Medicaid in our communities. Having good quality health care. 52% of my district in San Bernardino County gets their care from Medicaid. In California alone, that number's 16 million people. Half of the births in California are paid for by Medicaid. That is something that is incredibly important and a lifeline for so many families in the Inland Empire and across this country. So amplifying our voice, using our voice, talking about this issue to the American public is the most important thing we can do.
So we saw one of those actions in front of Young Kim's office, a Republican Congress member, a lot of people out there. We were out there yesterday. She says, look, I'm not going to vote for cuts to Medicaid. The president says we're not going to cut Medicaid. What do you say to that?
I say that they already have. I mean, that's the reality of it. You cannot cut $880 billion out of the federal budget without affecting Medicaid, which is exactly what House Republicans did. Now they're, showing, well, look, it doesn't say we're going to cut Medicaid in this document. There is physically no way to meet the target that they have set for cuts of the federal agencies through Energy and Commerce Committee without affecting Medicaid. It's just impossible. And so our answer to them is prove it. Prove that you aren't going to cut Medicaid, put details behind these cuts, and show the American people exactly what you value. This isn't about cutting waste, fraud, and abuse. We're all in for that. We'll cut waste, fraud, and abuse, but what they want to do is cut eligibility, cut provider payments, and cut health care delivered to families across this country.
So far, the most successful thing in stopping Donald Trump has been the courts. We've seen a lot of different judges act. Trump suggesting to Laura Ingraham, not necessarily pushing back on the idea of defying a court order, leaving open the possibility of that going forward. How do you deal with that, which would be a genuine constitutional crisis?
It would be a constitutional crisis, and it would be at the hands of House Republicans and Senate Republicans being complicit and not saying anything. They are sleepwalking themselves to this constitutional crisis by not taking any action or pushing back. Donald Trump needs to follow court orders. It is the basis of our democracy. That is fundamentally what we will do. House Democrats will use our voices. The courts and the litigation is a strategy to push back against the chaos and the dysfunction that we see from the Trump administration. And they have had success. Over 140 lawsuits going through the process right now. Over almost 50 have been won with injunctions or temporary restraining orders, constraining the Trump administration ability to fire people and to make these decisions at will just because Elon Musk said so. That's part of our strategy and our focus. The Congress, the courts, and the community using their voice in town halls or at district offices like you saw in order to be heard.
But if he starts defying court orders, what do you do?
Well, that's when we have to engage the American public, and there has to be a 5-alarm fire in our country where the public rises up and says, enough is enough. House Republicans, Senate Republicans, do you or do you not stand for the rule of law? And every elected official across this country, irrespective of the office that you hold, has to fundamentally answer that question and look their voters in the eye. Unfortunately, we're seeing House Republicans not wanting to look their voters in the eye, not wanting to have town halls or meet people or engage in this because they're afraid.
So you're the national politics guy, but you also have an interest in state politics. We've already started talking about the governor's race. You have a favorite?
Well, I've said that Kamala Harris would be an amazing candidate and an amazing governor. I would support her if she chooses to run, but there'll be plenty of time for politics in getting closer to that. Right now, the most important election in front of us is going to be the House elections in 2026.
Which is the same time, though, as the governor's race. So Katie Porter is running, who used to be one of your colleagues in the House. You're not endorsing her then?
Katie's a friend. She's a powerful force, an amazing communicator. What I've said is that Kamala Harris would be an amazing executive to the 5th largest economy, talking about affordability, talking about the issues of the day. If she chooses not to run, then it'll be a little bit more open. I think Katie said the same thing, actually.
Yeah. Are we going to hear you on Gavin Newsom's podcast anytime soon?
Haven't been asked.
Okay. I am going to ask you something to wrap up called personal issues. This is rapid fire. First thing that comes to mind, your cultural favorites, to get to know our congressman from the Inland Empire a little bit better, okay?
You got it.
So what is your favorite TV show?
Favorite TV show? Look, I just watched Paradise.
Oh.
I think it's an amazing show. It was captivating. It was really good. My wife and I watched that. All-time favorite, West Wing, but I'll say Paradise.
That's the way to win with me. Yeah, Paradise was Sterling K. Brown and James Marsden. Favorite movie of all time?
Oh, favorite movie of all time. I mean, I gotta go The Godfather. It's just timeless.
Classic.
It's just a classic. It just meant so much to me as a kid.
Favorite book?
Favorite book? Look, I think, Catcher in the Rye was something that shaped me as a kid.
Wow.
Growing up as a teen.
You're getting some real greats in this. Favorite musician or band?
Favorite musician or band? I'm gonna see Jimmy Eat World. That would probably be my wife's favorite. We're gonna see them soon. I'm gonna say Weezer.
Okay, 90s are calling on both. Favorite athlete?
Favorite athlete. Look, iconic. For a Southern California kid, the Kirk Gibson home run is so meaningful. But favorite athlete, I'll say Michael Jordan.
Okay, and who is your role model?
Look, my parents.
Why is that?
I'm an Inland Empire kid. They didn't go to college. They worked so hard for me to have an opportunity to do this. They didn't know what college was. They just knew that they wanted me and my brother to go to college. We both went to college. We both have families. We're teaching our kids the same lessons. The sacrifice that they made for us isn't lost on me.
Excellent. Pete Aguilar, great to see you.
Thanks
so much
Alex.
for
Good to
coming
see
in.
you.
Appreciate